Alright guys, so in this video we're going to look at putting a cutting plane in across the two external walls in the bathroom as it is requested in your task. So we'll cut through this window. And so how we're going to do that is we're going to use a tool set that AutoCAD already comes with, and then we're going to edit that a little bit. But before we do that, go create yourself a annotations layer. So if you open annotations, I've created my layer already. I've called it annotations. So any writing or anything like a cutting plane, any additional detail that's not really part of the structure itself, I'm going to call that an annotation. And I've just made it a red color, and it's a default line weight. So it's not as thick as all the other line weights that we've created. Right, so what we're going to do here is I'm going to type in the word tool palettes. Right, or tool, and then tool palettes should be the first one that comes up, and you'll get this little palette on the side here. And what we want to do is we want to make sure that we're in annotations, right? And we want to use this little a call out bubble here. So we're going to click on the call out bubble. Now you'll hardly see it, and what you'll have to do is to see it, you'll have to zoom in, right? So that's not obviously the size we want to work with. So we're going to highlight the whole thing, drag, release, click, and we're going to type in scale, click on the middle. And while you've got it activated, zoom out, right, and then open it up. Drag your mouse, and then you can work on a sizing that is good in proportion to the rest of your drawing. I'm quite happy with that size over there, so no particular size. Then what we're going to do is rotate that, because we want that in the direction, if I'm correct, in facing south, because this is a north elevation. So I'm going to go rotate, right, and we're going to rotate that 90 degrees towards a southerly direction. Then I'm going to highlight the whole thing again, and I'm going to explode this because we want to manipulate this, right? So explode, and we can go in here and we can delete sheet number and the viewing number as well. And at this point in time, we don't have a writing that will be big enough. So if we start writing, it's going to be small. So what we're going to do here, and we're going to need this as we go further on, is we're going to set the type of writing annotation size that we want, right? So I'm going to go into and drop down annotation. I'm going to click on the writing icon, and I'm going to go new. And we're going to create, I'm just going to call it D Studio, because this is the writing I want for my design studio. You can type an annotation, you can say whatever you like. I'm going to say okay. I'm going to go into that, and what we want to do is I'm going to then, you decide on a font that you like. I'm going to go Century Gothic. The height, I go rule of thumb, start with 100, and you can go always up and down. Now, every time you type an annotation in with the, for example, in this case, the D Studio, then later on, if I want to change that height, I come in and change it here in one place, and it affects a change overall. Right, so I'm going to apply that, which means I'm going to be setting that as the the annotations that I'm going to be using, right? So if I go here, you'll see it's selected Drawing Studio. I'm going to click on text, right? And I'm going to come into this box here with that little circle, and I'm going to type in A, because we want to use A as the letter. I'm going to position this with my best proportion, probably take off my perpendicular so I can move a bit more freely, and then go, that looks good to me. Highlight this whole thing. See, okay, so I'm going to highlight that whole thing, and I'm going to go annotations. Let me get rid of the tool palette. Right, so now that is done. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go Control Copy, Control V, and one more time Control Shift V. Now it's created a block. I'm going to delete these. Now, when I move it, A and all of it is one, it's grouped together. So before I do anything else, I'm going to, we want a center line to indicate our cutting plane. So I'm going to go to Layer Properties as well. I'm then going to right click down the bottom, create a new layer, and I'm going to call this centers or center, right? I'm then going to go, you call it chain, you can call it whatever you like. I'm going to go to the line type. We're going to load the right type. So I'm going to go to center, and there it is, and type OK, or click OK. And then we're going to click on that and go OK. So it's attributed as a center line, and we're going to obviously use that. So what I'll do here is I'm going to go from the center point of the window, and I'm going to drag, this is an annotation at the moment, let me keep it perpendicular, and I'm going to go to the other outside edge of the wall. So here I'm going to go out, let's just say 200, enter. I'll go outside here as well to 100 and enter. Okay, that just gives it a little bit of spacing left and right of the external, those outside edges that we're working with for a bit of symmetry. Then what I'll do is I'll click on this and I'm going to change it to centers. Now you'll see you can't see any of the center markings, so now we need to go into properties. So I type in MO or right click and go into properties, and it's the scale that we need to change. So we might need to change it to 30 or 50. We're just going to play around with numbers until we get, there we go, it's starting to show or separate. Let's maybe go to 100. Might be a bit much. That looks okay. Right, we'll settle for 100. Some of you might think that that's still a bit small and you can change it. Then I'm going to move this and I'm going to select that point there and I'm going to pop it onto the end of the line there. I'm going to highlight that. I'm going to say copy. My reference point will then be on this side and I'm going to drag it across and snap it onto there. Now A and A, my cutting plane is in place. I don't need to label that anymore. So what have we done? We've created an annotation type and we've created our own cutting plane with a more sort of modern and CAD sort of feel and look. Right, so that is this video. In the next video, we're going to go ahead and we're going to annotate the rest of the floor plan.